America, this is Mark A back in effect. Mark A stay in effect. Mark A will always be in effect.
Life is a bus, so the service a must. They make you turn up your phone before you get off the bus and make you wanna go home, dog. There's nowhere to run, so you must sleep through day 0 to get to day 1. And 9 weeks later,
What's up, America? This is Mark A back in effect. Stay in effect and always will be in effect. Yo, check this out. I'm gonna tell you like this. One thing I'm gonna tell you from jump. Okay, SBC. Do not subscribe to SBC. Yo, if you see me on there, yo, delete it because it's not actually me, okay? Yo, there's a scammer going out there and they are basically getting people's money. Do not go for it, okay? I thought I was supporting my man, and it didn't work, okay? So do not go into SBC. But today, this is Mark A back in effect, stay in effect, always will be in effect. And today we are sitting here in El Paso, Texas with my man, my man DMG. I call him DMG because he was my DMG when I was a Master Gunner. Master Sergeant, Sergeant Major, about to graduate the Sergeant Major Academy in about 3 weeks. The highest echelon for enlistment. Okay? About to go out there and do great things. Thomas Robinson. Okay? And my man, Salty Staff Sergeant, Red Leg Tech. You know what I mean? I want you guys to go out there, think about this for personnel with basically service dogs out there. Luke, come here, Luke. Come here, Luke. My boy Luke right here. I'm not a dog fanatic, you know what I mean? But this dog is my dog, okay? And he's a service dog, okay? And he helps veterans with as a service dog, helping them with as far as anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Okay, this is my boy right here. Luke is my man. Okay, German Shepherd, and that's with Red Leg Tech. Okay, Red Leg Tech. Yo, we also got my man Beyond Reverb, D Brooklyn here. Okay, he is my man. He's doing his thing up in this piece. There he is right there, D Brooklyn. He's doing his thing. Yo, reach out to these people. Okay, reach out to these people, reach out to these organizations. We gonna say, yo, Bear the Beast movement, we out there, they out there. Reach out to these people, okay? They're there to help you and talk and everything else, okay? But today is my man. This is my dude. We were Master Gunners together at 1377 Field Artillery Regiment, okay? Master Sergeant Major, okay? In 3 weeks, this motherfucker about to be a Sergeant Major, okay? In a battalion to basically help, okay? So help mentoring soldiers, okay? That's what it's all about. Mentoring soldiers, okay? Thomas Robinson.
Hey, first of all, I appreciate you having me on the show. I just would like to say that I appreciate meeting your team, and I don't appreciate, however, you calling my full government name out there like that. but it's cool. I understand. To clarify a few things, I'll be headed to Fort Stewart as the 3rd ID. Devarty Operations Sergeant Major. So,
there you go.
That's where I'll be. So for anyone watching this, subscribing to this, know that you can always reach out and touch bases with me there.
There you go. Yo, so you going to 3rd ID. Okay, so anybody in 3rd ID, I'm going to tell you personally, you in good hands. You in great hands. Okay, you in great hands. Because me and this dude went through a lot together. Okay, we were Master Gunners together in 1377 Field Artillery Regiment. And if anybody knows about 1377 Field Artillery Regiment, they'll let you know that we were ahead of the game in 2012, 2013 than other battalions in the United States Army. Okay, so we know gunnery. Definitely, absolutely. This man knows gunnery. But he's not only a 13 Juliet. I consider this motherfucker a 13 Bravo. I ain't gonna lie. Because he know more about 13 Bravo stuff than 13 Bravos know today. Okay? But so we're gonna go back like this. T, how it all began. When did you join the United States military?
So, brief history about me. I was born and raised in Newport News, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a rough upbringing, to be honest with you. I won't say that we were poor because I didn't really understand what that meant when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that life was good. I knew that everyone around me, maybe when I went to school, was making a little bit more money than we were because of the clothes that they would wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up in a rough neighborhood, pushed all the way through that throughout high school. Ended up going to college on a partial athletic scholarship. Graduated from high school, Warwick High School. Shout out to Warwick. Marcus Vick, Michael Vick, what up?
Michael Vick.
But graduated from there and then ended up going on to college and 9/11 happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we all do, we all know exactly where we were the moment when that happened. I got an opportunity to see it all happen, unfold on a screen in front of me, and just felt that movement. Like man, I got to do something. Felt like I needed to do something. 3 months later, I went down and enlisted in the United States Army, December of 2001. Raised my right hand on the delayed entry program. Wanted to finish out my college semester and shipped off to basic training in February 2002.
Now, you had the opportunity, I know obviously between the time of 1990, as you were, 2000 to 2001 or whatever, to the time that, you had a 3-year enlistment, 4-year enlistment, first enlistment?
4 years.
4 years. Mm-hmm. What made you say, I'm going to stay in?
So I will say that by the time I reached my end of my initial enlistment, I did a 4-year initial enlistment contract. By the time I reached the end of that, I had already done 2 deployments to Iraq. And I remember I was sitting in my second deployment and I went down to the retention NCO and he said, hey man, we're offering 25,000.
25 G's, right? 25,000,
which was tax free at the time. Because we were in a combat zone. They were like 25K for you to re-enlist tax free, and I was like,
he said, so then in my next duty station,
where do I sign? Let me go ahead and sign up. So after my initial enlistment, don't get me wrong, there was a sense of duty there. I liked what I was doing. By that time, at the end of 4 years, I was already a staff sergeant by then.
Okay.
So I was like, things are going really well. So, and then he threw the 25 G's on top of that. So I said, oh man, in the combat zones. I said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So ended up re-enlisting.
Now, you re-enlisted. Now, was there any type of mentors or personnel that basically kind of guided you through your career? Because I know one of them. We talked all the time, and I know it was Sergeant Major Atkinson. Just retired Command Sergeant Major Atkinson, which is my man. Love you to death, Killeen, Texas, baby.
Absolutely. So I think another one as well. Okay. Command Sergeant Major Overton.
Oh, that's.
I know that he's probably
that's my man.
Gonna make a debut on your show at some point in time.
Absolutely.
But there were a lot of different mentors that I considered mentors at the time. Sergeant Major Atkinson, definitely. I was an instructor for him when he was a first sergeant. Definitely mentored me a lot, especially knowing my background as a 13 Delta, 13 Juliet as they call it today. Took that opportunity to mentor me a lot, really guide me on really those next steps throughout my career. Sergeant Major Overton took care of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to let you know you stole his slot today.
Oh, really?
Because initially today was supposed to be his slot.
Oh.
We were supposed to be flying out there.
Okay.
And I got an alarm this morning that said Sergeant Major O.
Well, I definitely pale in comparison and falling in his shoes. I will tell you that. But yeah, he definitely mentored Reed and I a lot. He mentored me a lot throughout my career and really taught me what an NCO really should be.
Right.
I think.
Well, that's solid to have that connection, especially having at least one person that's going to show you what right looks like. Because I mean, I can tell you, in my experience, there's so many NCOs that you can pick apart and go, you know, these are the things I don't want to be. 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 But you know, it's hard to find that one that's like that dude, or you know, or her. I want to be like that. Right. And that's really hard to find in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. I think oftentimes, you know, especially as junior enlisted or, you know, as junior NCOs, we look at it and say, yeah, that's exactly what I don't want to be, right? So we take that from other leaders. We're like, yeah, that dude was a piece of shit at this. Yeah. That dude was. So I will never repeat that in the future.
Start pulling little parts of man. I think, and so many soldiers talk about the toxic leadership and everything, and I don't necessarily want to buy into toxic leadership. While there are bad leaders, I don't want to buy into toxic leadership. Just like leaders can talk about toxic soldiers, because there are toxic soldiers as well.
Absolutely.
But the Army is working right now. It looks like it's working well at creating more adaptive leaders, which is creating better leaders in general. And there is a lot to be said for war-hardened senior leaders as well that have been doing that game for a long time. Yeah. It puts us in a good position as a country.
For sure, for sure. I think, you know, the Army now looks at, you know, that word toxic as a derogatory term. So, you know, they transition kind of that counterproductive leadership.
Right.
And they definitely exist out there. And I think we're doing a great job of really identifying those individuals to move forward, especially as the Army's going through a huge transition right now.
Yeah, that's what you was telling me the other day. I was talking to you about it the other day. Yeah.
Right. The Army's going through a huge transition right now, and going from really the coin fight or counterinsurgency that was probably at the height of most of you guys' career, to where, you know, now we're kind of doing that paradigm shift.
Decisive action.
Yeah.
Decisive action.
We're doing that paradigm shift right now to back to multi-domain operations and large-scale combat operations, which a lot of guys who have done this Army thing for a long time will probably be able to relate to maybe the Cold War tactics, things of that nature. We're starting to transition back to that as we look at our, I don't call them near peer anymore, but our peer threats in Russia and China.
Yep. And that's the thing. You know, it starts off with leadership. Like what we basically saying. You know, we just talked about maybe about 2 or 3 leaders along the path. We talked about Sergeant Major Atkinson. We talked about Sergeant Major Overton. You know, so it starts off with the leadership. Okay, so what I'm asking you is that, you know, you got some good leaders that basically, from my understanding, that put you in to say, hey, you know what? Hey, Rob, you have an opportunity to be this. You have an opportunity to be that. You know what I mean? And that basically gave you that initiator, that light, that fire to basically say, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. You know what I mean? Now, what I realized in the last 25 years I've been in, you know, and I've been out for maybe about 4 months, 3 months now, is that leadership here today? Is that leadership? Is that similar type of leadership here today?
So, I mean, that's a great question. You know, being out of the force now for almost 12 months, really being here at the Sergeant Majors Academy, I do think that it still exists. I do. But leadership is evolving. Right. I think the terminology, the definition of what it is to be a leader is evolving even as we're sitting here doing this interview. I think that we have to be able to take into fact that soldiers are smarter. Soldiers have the ability to fact check individuals in the palm of their hand. Right. It's not the same type of Army that we came into, 20 years ago. It's not. Yeah. Whereas, you know, when we came in, when a leader spoke, it was gold, right? Like that's what it was. Nowadays, a lot of junior enlisted soldiers have that ability to fact check you on the spot. Yeah. And unfortunately, that takes away from your relevancy as a leader. Yeah. If you aren't remaining relevant, which, you know, I think when your buzzwords that you use for your show, Mark 8 back in effect. always will be in effect,
And
remain in effect, stay in effect.
Mark
right?
A back in effect, stay in effect, and always will be in effect. That's
Right,
what I'm
right.
talking about,
I think to me that alludes to just remaining relevant.
that's
right?
it.
Because I think that rings true, even though, as you progress or you transition out of the military, you're still remaining relevant, right? You're remaining relevant in everything you do every single day, and no matter what it is running your podcast, your show, you're remaining relevant. So you're continuing to contribute to that veteran community, right?
And that's what's important.
But it's also important as leaders in the United States Army, right? Just always remaining relevant in what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're acting, right? And that goes for any leader. Just making sure that you're relevant with the most up-to-date manuals, doctrine, things of that nature, because soldiers will check you in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And he's absolutely correct. Yo, to stay relevant as you retire or you transition, you know what I mean? You got to pick something that you need to do to basically become relevant. Stay relevant and become relevant. You're always going to be relevant to your family because your family loves you dearly, okay? But in the military, as far as to stay relevant, to be relevant, is you got to know your craft. You got to know your craft, and you got to care for soldiers. You see what I'm saying? I'll put my name on the line for this dude, okay? This guy's going to be an outstanding command sergeant major one day. I'm telling you. Probably divided level. You know what I mean? Because I know I served with them and I understand them, and he knows what's going on. Not just 13 Bravo. Don't come to him and ask him some bullshit because it's not going to happen. Because he's going to let you know what it is. I'm going to tell you straight up. There's another dude in the background that, he knows what's going on too as a 13 Bravo. You know what I mean? As a 13 Juliet. So synchronize. You know what I mean? Push yourself to learn your craft and be a subject matter expert in the craft. Subject matter expert is not being just a gun line soldier, FTC soldier, operation soldier. Know the whole thing, okay? And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Now, but I'm going to go back now. Sergeant Major. I'm going to call him Sergeant Major because he's a Sergeant Major. Okay? Robinson, okay? He's about to take over at the volley level, okay? As an operations Sergeant Major. He will be a command Sergeant Major one day. I'm going to tell you straight up. What is your nippets to train soldiers under your battalion? Because you're going to be taking over a battalion one day. What is your nippets? What is your thing that you're going to basically focus on to train them soldiers to be ready for war, to protect this nation?
I mean, I'm glad you asked that question. And, I know that you probably have a lot of artillery background individuals that probably view your show.
Yeah.
And, I'd like to take this next 30 seconds to a minute really to talk directly to them. And, really recognize the fact.
This is the real.
Really recognize the fact that, I mean, as we all know, and I'm sure, everyone that's living it right now, the Army is changing, right? We're moving away from the coin fight, and we're moving to that large-scale combat operation fight, that multi-domain operations fight. And I know a lot of you out there are paying attention, right? You got to be paying attention with what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on with Russia, really what's going on with China in the background. But really, the thing that I think hits home the most is degraded operations. And the reason why I say that, right, is because we're exposing a lot of systems with Russia, with China, and China's sitting back and they're listening and they're learning. The ability to take out the United States, the field artillery is really ability to take out their digital communications. I think that if we get into a situation to where we're in a large-scale combat operations situation, digital communication is not going to happen. So the ability to take a step back and learn manual gunnery, learn things like, hey, what's going to happen if I need to shoot degraded? Hey, how do we hip shoot? I think we've gone through a transition to where we rely heavily upon digital communications, but I think in the back of our mind, we have to ensure that we are masters of our craft as NCOs.
Masters of our craft as non-commissioned officers. That's what my man said. Gunnery, degraded operations is very important. Now, why do you say that gunnery operations is very important?
Only because I know that there's been a transition, especially in advanced individual training, right? AIT, where they've kind of gone away from manual gunnery, right? Manual calculations to shoot fire missions. I'm not saying this is not a plug at a lot of individuals out there that still know how to do it. They still know how to handle business as it pertains to manual gunnery. And we're talking charts and darts for the slang terminology for those fire direction folks out
Charts
there.
and darts. Camouflage B. Camouflage B. What you think manual gunnery? What you think about manual gunnery?
It's there, right?
Yeah.
But my belief is we gotta match who we are today, right?
Mm.
And we're saying we're the best army, we're the smartest army. So I feel we gotta do it all. Yes, we gotta manual gunnery is there, but our technology is what's gonna push us through, especially when you're talking about fighting against China. It's our technology. Yes, we still gotta be manual gunnery degraded. I do believe that, right? To match being the best army in the world, I think we gotta be equipped with manual degraded and technology, computers, whatever that is. We gotta combine that.
Now, I remember when I was the first on, I used to train. I used to push to train manual, right? And the reason why I pushed manual because if you could master manual, degraders ain't nothing because it's nothing but push button.
All right, so to add to what we call it camouflage B, right?
Yeah.
What he said in the background, the only reason why I plug degraded manual gunnery is because I think we've gone away from it for a long period of time.
Manual or degraded?
Degraded and manual. I think we've gone away from it for a long period of time. Where I'm not saying we've excused it completely, but I think it's more of an add-on, right? Like, oh yeah, we got to do that hip shoot, right?
So now, while I was instructing, we were fielding the PEMs had already been fielding, and we're starting to try to field the IRCA.
Okay.
And they were looking because they're adding the 10 extra feet to the tube of the IRCA.
Right.
They were looking at what we can remove from the Alpha 7 in order to lighten the vehicle to maneuver the vehicle easier. And they had myself and another couple instructors come down and kind of advise them on what to get rid of. And one of the main things that they're looking at removing right now is the manual sight mechanism. That is the major component they're looking at removing and trying to replace it with cameras or other sites. And I was working with engineers while we were down there trying to explain to them, like, we need to keep the degraded sight. We need to keep that.
Right.
We need to keep that ability.
Right.
If we lose that, then we're
done.
We're the Paladin is now out of the fight.
Yeah.
Done.
And,
Paladin, 777.
and
done.
If we lose those guns, we're crippling ourselves. But I don't know whatever happened to that when I left, and I retired in February, so I don't know what happened to that since I left. But I know that was a big discussion, and it was kind of in the air what BAE was trying to do, what the Army was trying to do with it to lighten it. Hopefully that's being looked into.
I mean, I think, as we were talking previously, when we look at, I don't even call them near peer anymore.
Yeah.
Our peer threats, we can't afford to do something like that. And,
right.
and maybe, if they do move it, to come out with some type of way to replace it.
Simplify it, maybe streamline it.
Which is fine, but we still have to have that reach back, that ability to manipulate the gun manually. I mean, it's a requirement.
Yeah.
Because, in a large scale combat operation environment, we got to expect that they're going to jam our communication, right?
For step one is hit anything with antennas.
There you go, right?
Step one, hit anything with antennas. So.
Absolutely. So I hope that they don't do that. I'm hoping, as I transition back to the force here in the next couple months, I'll have an opportunity to really look at that. But for all of those red legs out there, like I said, that manual gunnery, we've gone away from it for a long time. I've seen the change happen.
It's important.
That ability to really get after the manual piece, man.
Well, and that's where you really find, and being a 13 Bravo, that's where you really where the rubber meets the road. You really figure out who's got their shit right.
Right.
Hey, look, gunnery's cool, but once you get degraded gunnery, now once we're going glass, who's fast?
Yep. 100%, right? Like that'll make or break a lot of people. I mean, when you get the big three out there and that. It'll hurt a lot of people.
Yep.
And I think you see it all the time, I'm sure, with those individuals who can't pass, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or don't make it on the safety test or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes or breaks a lot of individuals.
The safety test, I know for a lot of young NCOs, especially in the FTC, that safety test is a monster.
Yeah, because they have the potential to be exposed.
That's true.
They put them in that one-on-one room to where it's just you and that piece of paper and really gets an opportunity to test what their knowledge base is.
I've got a good buddy of mine. He's a FTC chief over in Deuce right now.
Okay.
And when he first picked up his section, he was like, man, he's like, Jones, I can't pass the safety right now. I'm like Crocker, let's get this together. Let's work it out. Gotta make. He got it. And he's. I know you know what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I knew his chief coming up, and I was like, I know you know what you're doing because I know he taught you.
Right.
I watched him drilling it into you, so I know you can do it. Just go out there and knock it out, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of that safety test directly correlates with manual gunnery, right? And those individuals that have kind of walked away from it for a while, they get exposed on that thing. They really do. They really do. I'm glad to see you back.
Yeah, I had to go back. Now, we was talking about, the transition of manual, degraded. Why degraded is so important, okay? Now, what is it that you you about to become with the Body Operations Command Sergeant, Operations Sergeant Major. What is it that your emphasis is on the next unit that you go to, and what do you see? Field artillery. I'm gonna say field artillery because that's what I was in. That's near in my heart. I lived, breathed. Fucking like everything impossible. Field artillery.
Right.
What do you see with the field artillery going in the next couple of years, 5 years or so? In your opinion, that is.
I think like as we spoke about, right? The Army's going through a large transition right now to large scale combat operations. And I think that's going to push us to 2030s. But I really think that we're taking extra focus on the URCA cannon, the extended range cannon artillery, which I think is a great development for the field artillery community. But it continues to make us relevant to where we're still part of the fight. We're the king of battle for a reason, and it ensures that we're able to really reach out and touch individuals as we continue forward and transition into this large-scale combat operation. So I think we'll do that large-scale combat operation shift, but we'll also do the multi-domain operation shift, right?
That's your camera right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So MDO, as we're looking at multi-domain operations, we're not only talking about the ability to work from the land forces component, but we're talking about integrating the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, even our multinational forces, as we look at large in part NATO, really just gaining a better understanding of how they do business so that interoperability with other forces, should we need it going forward against our peer threats, we're able to really execute that function.
And that's a great point. Because as a 13 Bravo, if I remember, and I do remember correctly, because ain't nothing been but a few years ago, Do 13 Bravos go through that type of understanding of what Sergeant Major Robinson's talking about? No, we don't. Now, we are getting into the realm of that. So if you are, an E6, E7, it's not just understanding the battery operations, battalion operations. Table 18 is trying to understand and articulate higher than that, okay? Because this is a problem, okay? It's a problem because infantry knows, okay? Aviation knows, even some logistics know, NCOs know, but we don't know that because what we think about is gun line. As a 13 Bravo E7, all you think is about the gun line. My soldiers occupy 6 minutes. That's what matters. No, it's not about your platoon. It's about your battery. But on actuality, is if your FDC is not occupying and sending rounds down range in 11 minutes, is irrelevant. You ain't nothing. Okay? So understand the overall structure of why you do things. And that's the levels that you got to go up on. You know what I mean? And that's what he's basically articulating right now. The levels, multi-domain, you know what I mean? And things like that. You see what I'm saying? Rob, 13 Delta, I know there's plenty of stories that we both have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Back in JBLM as a digital master gunner, Colonel, now General Kemper used to call it R squared. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't rest and relaxation. That's what he said. It wasn't rest and relaxation. You know what I mean? R squared. And when we did 1377, we had them at a level that we was basically flying in helicopters and sling loaded to basically go down to Yakima for Yakima Training Center, if you all know about that. And the thing about it is the fact that other units, other the battalion, master gunners and digital master gunners, used to reach out to us. It's like, yo, what are we doing? What was it different compared to other battalions from what the battalion that you experienced that basically started from the ground up?
So I will say that, as far as being an FDC guy, right? Even as a youngin' coming up, I felt like I was always in competition with 13 Bravos, right? Because that's all that I was surrounded around. Like that's all that.
Yeah.
Hostile territory.
Absolutely.
Hostile territory.
It was a whole bunch of guys that talked a lot of shit, but they also executed when it came time to do business, and it was really like, man, like what can I do to be able to talk shit with the rest of these guys?
And he's obligated to say this because he's between us.
Right? I mean, I'm being honest. But, just looking back and thinking like, man, like, how do I continue to make myself relevant? And first of all, at ground level, it's like, hey, I really got to master my craft as artillery, right? As fire direction. I was like, I really got to understand. But then, I had some great platoon sergeants that would take me back and be like, hey, Rob, go down there on the gun line. Like, know what, when you send that fire mission, what happens on the other end. And so I had an opportunity to go down there and really know, okay, when I do this, the reaction is this. Or when I send this is what they're getting. So it gave me an opportunity to bridge that gap and relate when I do send things or I talk about things or I'm over the mic. This is how they interpolate it, right?
Like he's looking over the fence at the zoo.
Right.
It's like when I throw rocks at them, they get pissed.
Exactly. And then, when we were master gunners together, and I know you remember that.
That was my best. That was one of my best years of my life.
I mean, we used to talk a lot of shit back and forth.
Yep.
But we were able to relate. And hey, Rob, this is what happens when this, and I'd be like, hey, Reed, this is what happens when this, and we were able to bounce things off of each other, and really we were able to take a step back and understand that things were above us, right? Like it was more about the battalion, more about the unit, and really about making those sections, individual sections better, those platoons better. So at the end of the day, we talk a lot of shit, but we were able to go smoke together or,
That's right.
Chop it up together
That's
because
right.
we knew it was bigger than us.
Let me tell you a story. Hey, I was a master gunner, DMG. I S3, Lieutenant Colonel retired Griswold. Okay, love him to death. He's in Fort Lewis, JBLM, Washington area, retired. Okay, you sit there and we used to argue all the time. We used to curse each other out across cubiticles, and everybody used to be like they're about to fight. You know what I mean? But then when I would walk to his desk or he would walk to my desk, hey, let's go smoke a cigarette. Okay, we gonna smoke a cigarette. Okay, and that's what it's about, right? It was just like regardless of what we smoke, we talking shit to each other, but at the same time, we always after the same thing. It's about enhancing the unit, enhancing soldiers to make them better. That was exactly what it's about. It's not about us. It's about you guys, younger soldiers, coming up, Sergeant First Class, Staff Sergeants, E5s, Specialists, Privates, coming up to be better than us. Okay? So if we give them realistic, actual training, tough training, that when they go to their units, they're gonna know what it's all about.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
that was it.
I will say there's a few things that I would like to talk about specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But before we transition to that,
Yeah.
another person comes to my mind, and that's now Command Sergeant Major Flu Hardy.
Oh man, that's my man.
Hey, listen,
Uncle Flu.
let me tell you, when it was somebody that, as an FTC guy,
He knew that shit right.
hey, look,
Yeah, that motherfucker-
that humbled me.
Yeah.
Right when I came in, he was a first sergeant at the time.
Yep.
And I come in
Charlie
and he's
guy.
like, yeah.
Yep.
And he's like,
Say this.
he's like, no, actually, Rob, it's like this. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that. Like,
yeah.
he knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yo, 25th ID, Command Sergeant Major, Paul Fluharty, Uncle Flu. Let me tell you something. The real deal, Holyfield, definitely 100%. 100.
Absolutely.
Uncle Flu.
From one side all the way to the other.
Absolutely.
You want to talk field artillery, give him a call.
Absolutely. That's my man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my dude. That's our dude. He used to do to me. He's like, yo, MG, what's up? You want a pack of cigarettes? Hey, you got some cigarettes? Hey, come to my Humvee. Yo, let me get some ramen noodles. Ramen noodles back in the field. You out there for 6 days. Ramen noodles was the motherfucking.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a goddamn delicatessen. Hey, he used to try to slow job me. Like, nah, man, I'm gonna eat your ramen, but I'm gonna go out to the field. Sergeant Major, first on, motherfucker ain't certified. I just gave you some ramen. Nah, you ain't certified. You know what I mean? They ain't certified.
Hey, let me tell you, Flu used to open the door for me.
Yeah.
Right? He'd be like, so, tell me about this. Right? We be talking about FDC shit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he knew it because I believe he was an OC at some point in time in his career.
No. You never OC?
No?
That motherfucker was on the line. Man.
I'll tell you what, he would let me walk in and he'd be like, well, actually, Rob, according to the regulations, right, it's actually this, and this. And I'd be like, Roger that, first sergeant, you got me?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But one of the most well-rounded artillerymen I've ever had the opportunity to serve with. I will say that.
If you were 25th ID, walk to Command Sergeant Major Fluharty, I guarantee you, if you go ahead and set up like, yo, I want to see Sergeant Major Fluharty, he will see you. If you want to talk artillery, he will see you. You know what I mean? But he's going to teach you something. I guarantee that.
Be prepared to be humble.
Be
What I'll
prepared.
say.
That's my man.
Is what I'll say.
That dude, that's my man.
Yeah.
Man,
So, Reed, as first I would like to say congratulations on what you're doing. I'm really happy for both of y'all, to continue to contribute to the veteran community, even for all of us active duty service members. I mean, that speaks a lot. A lot of people walk away from the military. And, to their own preference, they don't, they took the uniform off and hangs in the closet. And
Wash your hands of it and move on. It can be a lifetime ago.
I'm not mad at them. That's what they want to do. But I just want to say that I really appreciate what both of you are doing.
Appreciate it
to contribute to the community and all the veterans and all that you guys do. It really speaks volumes for your ability to continue to contribute. So I really appreciate what both of y'all are doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about, man. You know what I mean? As a sergeant first class, you push as a staff sergeant. You think about self. As a sergeant first class, you think about self, but you think about soldiers. As a first sergeant, you think about soldiers. As a sergeant major, you think about soldiers in enhancement. You know what I mean? And that's something that I bring forth because I want everybody, to progress. You know what I mean? That's the thing about this. We want everybody to progress. We don't want everybody to be stagnated. You know what I mean? You're gonna make mistakes. Okay? You're gonna make mistakes. It's inevitable. You're gonna make mistakes. But to make a mistake, okay, not a problem. But you know what? Let me learn. Learn from the mistake and teach somebody else not to make the same mistake. That's what's important.
Absolutely.
That's what's important.
Now, as we're getting closer to wrapping this up, I want to also say congratulations to you as you're closing in on getting promoted to sergeant major. So again, I want to say congratulations on behalf of Red Leg Tech and myself.
This cat gonna be the motherfucker. He gonna be the division. He gonna be the division. I'm telling you.
And I always
we're gonna be the division. That's the matter.
I always like to ask a series of 3 questions.
Okay.
And the first question is, you as a senior non-commissioned officer, if you had any advice to impart to young enlisted that might be coming across this, or some future soldiers, any just key wisdom that you could put out there for the future soldier or the young enlisted?
Hey, camouflage B. Camouflage B. What you say about that?
I would say it's so many things you can say to answer that question. If you're young and you coming out, man, you coming in, I would tell you, find that mentor, right?
Find a mentor, yep.
Find that mentor, find that NCO, or it don't have to be an NCO, it can be an officer, it can be a soldier, someone who is gonna challenge you to be better, right?
Right.
Be better militarily, be better as a human being, right? As a brother, sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find that mentor, someone who's going to challenge you and not always going to agree with you, right?
Right. They're going to tell you when you fucked up.
But you don't want to be just anyone, right?
Right.
You want to be that person that's going to lead you to, we all want to be successful in life, right? So just finding that mentor, that person that's going to tell you what's real, that's also going to tell you, okay, you messing up, like you just said.
Right.
Or, just finding that person that's going to lead you to the right way.
Okay.
Now I'm a caveat on that. Okay, because this is Mass
I'm
on
sure first on passion.
First on Mass on
Caveat.
Mass on retired Mark Avery. Okay, and I was the 13 Bravo 13 Mike career match. Okay, and I basically when I my thing is about promotion, progression, enhancement. Okay, for the young soldier to get ahead. Okay, because I'm the one that pretty much wrote it. DA Pam 625. Okay, I don't know if it changed now because I retired. I don't even know about that no more. But dude, the only thing is this. This is the thing. Push yourself to try to be the best. Okay, but don't step on nobody's shoes. Don't step on nobody's neck. You know what I mean? Because I'm noticing that it's basically a cutthroat. It's been starting to be cutthroat. But it's not about cutthroatness. It's about the unit. It's not about you. It's not about him or her. It's about the unit. It's how to enhance the unit. Okay? That's important. Command Sergeant Majors out there, my recommendation is to build a team. Build a team.
So
Yeah. And that's difficult for you.
Yeah.
So
So
difficult for you guys coming up now.
for sure. What I would say to respond to your question is, especially for those young soldiers out there, it's really all about building a foundation, right?
Mhm.
And I think that you think about building an actual foundation and all the materials that go into that, right?
Right.
And we're talking in a house, in a church, wherever you want to talk about that basic foundation. There's a lot of materials that have to come together to make that concrete, that brick, whatever it is. But part of that is just mastering your craft, right?
Yep.
Understanding, becoming a technical expert at your job, no matter what it is. That is the most basic of foundations. Stop worrying about what other people are doing. Become a technical expert, because as you progress in the military, officers will rely upon you for your advice and your counsel. And if you're not an expert at what you do, they will not rely upon you for your advice or your counsel, because you don't know your most basic foundations of your MOS.
But that also depends on the attitude too.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'll give you an example. I was a first sergeant, Deuce Field Artillery, which Deuce 2 Field Artillery, FA, the time. I went to 8th Army. I had a full bird colonel. And planning. Didn't know shit about planning. But I had to learn quick to understand. You should gun line, shell HE, fuse PD, whatever, fine round, all this. Yeah, I knew all that. But the planning portion, I didn't understand. The what you call it? What's the word? Mission command. I didn't understand.
But you did.
I did understand. Yeah, I did understand.
You just didn't understand the doctrinal terms that
There you
came
go.
with mission command.
And that's exactly it.
But you understood it.
Yeah, I understood it.
100%.
Yeah. But by me working with it every day, understood it more. And like the knowledge I put out because of what I understand. But it's not just field artillery. So if you were Sergeant First Class one day, if you're a Sergeant First Class out there, as a platoon sergeant or a DMG, it's not just about the gun line. It's understanding the actual structure above you. That's why they say, learn 2 levels up, 1 level down.
So I'm gonna turn the microscope back on you for a second for my second and third questions. My second question is, now you personally, obviously military and you got school going on, but I want to know personally for you, and everybody's got a different answer. You can ask 1,000 people and 1,000 people will answer different. So I want to know from you, where is or what is your personal fight now, currently?
My man's.
Wow. That's a great question. I will tell you that
I'm going to humanize you real quick. On camera.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very interesting question, and I think that it changes throughout a service member's career.
It definitely does.
I think we all go through that transition phase to where when we're young, we're dedicated to the Army. And I'm not saying that I'm not, but I think it evolves over time.
Well, as your value system does as well.
Absolutely. I will say for me, the biggest form of flattery is emulation.
Right.
There you go.
And what I mean by that is, especially when I was a first arm.
Talk to me, B.
When I had the ability to kind of take a step around and see that one soldier that's standing out in front of the other soldiers trying to mimic what you're doing. Right? Like, oh, first sergeant over there talking about blah, blah, blah. Right? Everybody laughed at it. Right? And I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But to me, it let me know at least they were listening to what I was saying.
Yeah.
So for me, I will say...
I need a drink.
To me, I will say it's leaving a legacy, man.
Okay.
I will say... If at the end of the day, when I pick up my phone and one soldier throughout my history of 20 years in the military now calls me and says, "Hey, First R&R, hey Chief," I still get those phone calls. Hey Chief. hey, I need some help.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm able to give them that, whatever they need at that specific moment in time. I think that's what does it for me, to be honest.
Give him back.
All right,
Give him
so
back.
all right, and that leads me to my last question, and then we can start wrapping it up. But my last question is: you spend so much time as a leader, and I never made it into the senior NCO ranks, but you spend so much time as a leader filling everybody else's cup up, making sure that the soldier is taken care of, making sure that the platoon is taken care of, making sure the battery, so on and so forth. And you're spending, and then you're a husband and a father, and you're taking care of a house. So you spend so much time filling up everybody else's cup. What do you do personally to fill your cup up?
So I will tell you, and my own personal things that I like to do is I like to hunt and fish a lot, believe it or not. I bow hunt a lot. A lot of people don't know that about me. I'm a huge bow hunter. That's kind of like my personal thing.
Now, is that because it's harder?
Absolutely. When I was a kid, ever since I was young, I hunted a lot with my dad, and as I progressed, it made it a lot harder.
Mark, now, have you ever had to think about whether or not the shot you took was going to hit bone or not?
What do you mean?
Exactly.
Exactly. So whenever bow hunters have to go hunting, because the velocity of the arrow isn't strong enough, it's more difficult to bow hunt because they have to worry about whether the bow is going to hit bone on the animal or not.
Right.
They have to wait for the perfect shot. They have to get closer. It's much more. I believe it's a martial art. Honestly, I believe that bow hunting, because it's a sense of therapy almost. So I understand why you would do it, because it's so difficult to do.
Absolutely. And not only that, right? I think for me, the opportunity I get to sit in a deer stand in the morning where everything's quiet, everything's calm. I have that opportunity to reflect on me while also waiting for some potential food to come within range.
Yeah.
It's just very peaceful for me and allows me to reflect on my thoughts. So that's very therapeutic for me. And, it's something I'm very passionate about, and I try to really impart to my children, to get that time to shut out all the noise around you.
So do you make it a point to block time off for yourself, or do you? Because I know some people.
That's a balance.
I know some people will set an alarm on their phone and be like, "Hey, an hour today, I'm gonna do me for an hour today." And I know everybody has their own routine, but how do you manage your routine with everything you got going?
No, that's a great dude. My codes. That's what I the greatest. The balance, the family, the self, and the military.
You got to take care of you, because no one's gonna take care of you the way you can take care of you.
Absolutely.
So you gotta think of
how do you balance that?
So I will tell you that what I try to do is, before I go to sleep every night, I spend some time in prayer, to be honest with you. Everyone's asleep, make sure the daughters are tucked in. The wife's already laid it down because she falls asleep earlier than I do.
But a cool few minutes of
quiet.
quiet.
Get that quiet.
Smack that little, get that little. Touch. I ain't gonna say it. Smack the touch. But touch. You know what I mean?
I get a little time in prayer.
Awesome.
To me, one-on-one, and really just do that reflection and really take a look inside to say, am I doing the right things? How can I be better tomorrow? How can I continue to get better?
That's key. That's key. Bro, you just basically, if you was a leprechaun right now and you enlisted right now, okay, my man is at the highest echelon, okay? If you basically look at this show right now and you basically say, yo, I'm a leprechaun and I'm going over the what you call it?
Rainbow.
The rainbow, and I found my goal. He's telling you right now.
Giving you the answers to the test.
Giving you the answers to the test.
Giving you the answers to the test.
Giving you the answers to the test. Right now.
Well, Mark, we're coming up on an hour, so I think we should probably wrap it up. And if we want to, is there anything we didn't cover? Or
There's one thing that I would.
There we go. Here he is.
I know that you deal with a lot of your subscribers and individuals watching your show that are transitioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to speak. Obviously, I don't have any experience in that, but what I can say for a lot of your individuals that are transitioning or retiring is that you've done this before. You've done it, and I'm gonna refresh your memory real quick. All of you out there have PCS before, right? When you PCS and you move to that new duty station, that new location, right? You got to learn the area. You got to learn what's good for you, what's bad for you, where to go, where not to go, right? You also have to take an opportunity to take a step back and say, well, now it's time to prove myself again, right? Because a lot of those individuals don't know where you came from, what you've done in your past. So you always start from the beginning. So now you're proving yourself from the ground up. So for all of those that are transitioning, getting out of the military, it's no different than what you've done in the past and you PCS'd. You're starting that foundation. You're proving yourself again. You've done it. You got experience with it. You all can do it because you've done it before.
That's right. And you're stronger than you think you are. You're stronger than you think you are. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because you're transitioning from one station to another, but now you transition out. Okay? So now we just get adapted.
I'm going to throw it in artillery terms. It's not end of mission. You're waiting on continue mission. You're just waiting on a order, or you're waiting on your march order. You know what I mean? You're just kind of waiting for your next.
But the march order is on your terms.
Yep.
It's on your terms. The march order is your terms. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. This is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And we collected 57 minutes of great experience. Sergeant Major Robinson getting ready to come and graduate from the Sergeant Major Academy. Okay, we got Camouflage B in the background. Camouflage V in the background. You know what I mean? We got people that will basically help you. You know what I mean? That will help you through the transition, or not just transition out the Army, but transition the unit. Okay, we got Bear the Beast Movement. We got Beyond Reverb. We got Red Leg Tech. We got so many other agencies. We got Grapevine. You know what I mean? There's so many other opportunities and things, other agencies that will help you transition in and out. Okay, that you can reach out to, and we will get you.
Yeah, and to plug that, like one of my pet peeves, and I'm sure all of you have heard it. You have a lot of leaders that say, call me if you need anything. Hit me up if you need anything. And a lot of times that's shallow. A lot of leaders say that just for words, but they don't really mean that. So what I say to all of you, if you need anything, hit up Mark A directly, or hit up my man Red Leg over here directly.
Red Leg Tech. Yep, you can email us at Red Leg Tech Incorporated, redlegtechinc.org.
Absolutely. Hit them up.
Apex07.
They got my direct number. I have no problem with reaching out to any soldier that needs help, advice, needs, whatever it is. Because we're only as strong as our weakest link, and we all slip sometimes.
Absolutely.
Don't let it be your time where you can't pick up that phone and make a phone call.
But you're not weak. You're actually stronger if you make that phone call or make that transition, contact us. You're strong. You're strong.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Reach out. It's okay to not be okay. Reach out.
Mark ain't okay, but I'm good.
All right, Mark. Well, you want to wrap it up and go ahead and wrap it up with the cheers then?
Yeah, cheers. With German beer.
There we go.
Yeah,
around the world.
Yo,
cheers, gentlemen.
Beyond Reverb. Beyond Reverb is out there. Reach out to Beyond Reverb. Every Tuesday, every Friday night. Go on there. Trust me. It's a good deal.
All right.
Appreciate you. Always a good time.
That's right. Yo, this is Mark A. Back in effect, staying effect, always will be in effect. Yo, we gonna keep it going. Next month, continue 17th of every month at 06. We gonna be there. You know what I mean? Continue looking in. All right?
5 weeks later, the basic shit done. And then 5 weeks later, I'm in unit 1 like you son of a what? This body boy done earned him a gun. Make you think about home and who all lost they life to a gun. Shit.